Hi everybody, it's me, Waffle Dog, and I'm coming at you all again with another World of Tanks tank review. And this time we're going to be looking at a tank that is very special and a lot of people think is insanely overpowered. The OI Tier 6 Japanese, somewhat new heavy tank. Just looking at it in the garage here, we're going to notice a few things right off the bat. Firstly, I've got my female crew in this thing. It's because I'm currently grinding up the line, and I think it really helps to have it. It helps with your gun handling in general, repairs being slightly faster, just everything. It helps with your crew being better. But that's besides the point. Why am I doing a tank review of a Tier 6 tank? Other than one that's near and dear to my heart, like the Jackson. Well, because honestly, it's kind of broken. Pretty broken, actually. It's basically taking the place of the KV-2 in my mind. The KV-2 carries around this 152mm M10 derp cannon, which the hand of Stalin guides the shells of all the way to the target. Now, the OI gets a tier higher gun called the 15cm howitzer Type 96, and this thing is insane. As we can see, it has a very slightly slower rate of fire, but higher penetration on the AP and premium AP rounds, with lower penetration on the HE rounds, but not by too much. On the other side, it also gets a little bit more accuracy, 0.02, and slightly faster aiming time, but both of these guns, you can either aim all the way if you know you're not spotted, but if you're spotted, you should probably take snapshots. Not saying it's advisable to take snapshots, I'm just saying sometimes that's your only option with these sorts of tanks. So this is really the only tank that can compare to the OI is this KV-2, and it's basically outclassed in every way. If we look at the KV-2, we can see that it's probably around the same speed. This thing has double the armor though, so it cancels out any slight speed advantage that KV-2 may have, which it has about a 6 km/h top speed advantage, but KV-2 gets up to it kind of slow. And just look at the armor differences: 150, 150, 150 on the turret. Granted, it's flat. And then we have 150, 70, 150. 150 rear armor on this tank. That's ridiculous. You can, when you're top tier in an OI, you can just dig in and be invincible pretty much. The only advantage that KV-2 really has is when it's not top tier. A non-top tier KV-2 can do a lot because of the fact that it's relatively small and it can always do damage to anything it sees. Where the OI, I mean, you can see, like, let's see, what other heavy tanks do I have I can compare this to in terms of size? So this is the OI. And that's the E100. It's bigger than an E100. It's taller than an E100. It's wider, even, maybe. Yeah, it's wider than an E100. This thing is massive. I don't think I have a bigger heavy tank I can really demonstrate this with. No, I don't really, because E100 is about as big as it gets for my garage anyways. Yeah, these Japanese heavy tanks are insanely big, so if you're not top tier in this thing, 150 armor isn't going to mean much to tier 8 tanks. So they're just going to shoot you right here, they're going to shoot you right here, they're going to shoot you here in your turret. It's such a flat big target, it's just so easy to pin this thing. So now that we've had our little garage talk with this OI, let's hop on over to the Tanks GG site and just do a little bit more comparing with the KV-2 before we head over. Or actually, hang on, let's do something new here first. Before we head over to the site, let's just look at the tech tree and just explain the line to you so far and what's to come later. So new heavy tank line. OI Experimental comes at tier 5. I aced that thing. I didn't get quite enough experience to get to the next one, so I dropped about 5,000 free XP on getting to the OI standard. But this tank is just as overpowered. While it doesn't have as much armor, only 75 at the front really, on both turret and hull, it has a really powerful 10mm gun, the 300 alpha damage at tier 5. So you just tear through everything. It has good gun handling, and it's really fast too. Like, this is probably the quickest of all the tanks in the line. It's about the speed of a T-32 that can go slightly faster, almost like an IS-3 in terms of speed. And then we get to the OI, which is, like a lot of people know, overpowered with the derp gun. Then we move to tier 6 and we basically get the same gun with another 10cm with better penetration, but When I get to the Oni, I'm not sure which gun I'm really going to use, but it really doesn't feel like it's going to be a very good tank. You only get more turret armor, truly, and you don't get much hull armor. Then at tier 8, we have the Oho, and this will be an interesting one for me because I will be running this 10 centimeter because it doesn't have any premium rounds, which is strange. However, it will, it's the premium rounds from the tier 7 are the standard on this one. And that's actually a pretty good pen. 215 pen, 330 alpha. Bad accuracy and aiming time, but I feel like as a top tier, with the you get better hull armor and turret armor with this as well. But being top tier in an OHO with this gun could be amazing. The derp, of course, gets better stats as you go up, but I still don't think it'd be worth it. And then tier 9, you get a bad version of the Type 5 Heavy. It's just awful reload on this gun. Horrible DPM, but pretty workable armor overall. Yeah, 250 turret, 250 hull. So you can make that work, especially if you're top tier. And then tier 10, of course, Type 5 Heavy. This is the thing I want so badly. Absolutely a ginormous tank. I don't have a mouse yet, so this is going to be what I get instead of a mouse. It is that Type 5 Heavy, just monster of a tank. Just it's so large and it's so cool. It's more novel more than anything else, but let's not get too rambly here. Let's cut this section of the video off here and hop over to the tanks.gg site to look at this tank compared to a couple of others. Okay, now we're on tanks.gg and we're checking out the only real comparison that you can make to the OI at tier 6 for heavy tanks, which is the KV2. Interestingly enough, when we're looking at tier 6 heavy tanks, there's this Object 244, which looks like some sort of IS with a stock gun, which could be an interesting tier 6 premium. So just a little thing, you know, just I'll point out to you guys, keep that in mind. That's something that exists, so maybe we'll see it in the far future. Anyways, let's dive right into these stats. We're going to ignore damage and penetration values because, sadly, these are not the stats for the KV2 with the derp on it. I'm not sure if there's any... Oh, here we go. We'll switch this out really quickly. There we go. Firing HE. OI with the 15 centimeter. Firing HE. There we go. This is better. Okay, this gives us a much better representation of what's going on. So, first off, KV2 slightly better reload, so it has slightly better DPM. No surprise there. A little bit better pen, but it's not going to make a big difference. You're just going to wreck modules with both of these tanks, with whether or not you're pinning. Even if you're splashing on people, you're going to do a lot of damage. Caliber, shell velocity, both very slow. No surprise there either. OI, quick note, that does carry much more rounds than the KV2, but both of these, you're never going to need more than 36 rounds. If you're having a game where you're firing 36 shots in your KV2, you're probably going to get that 15 kill medal, which is attributed, or which relates back to that KV2 that stood up against all those Germans in World War II alone. So you'll pretty much recreate the medal. Yeah. Anyways, weapon handling. This is just silly to me. OI wins out in pretty much every single category. The dispersion values are 0.1 better. That's really great. And then for moving and tank traverse. And then after firing, better dispersion, better gun elevation, and it even has 10 degrees of gun depression. Now, this isn't everywhere on the OI. When we jump over to the model viewer in a second, we'll see that. But anyways, let's move on a little bit further. We can see that OI is lacking in forward speed and reverse speed and power to weight, so it's pretty sluggish. However, the terrain resistances are quite a bit better, and the turret and track traverse, excuse me, are also quite a bit better, so this kind of evens out the mobility and makes them feel about the same. And as we know, literally everything about the OI is better in terms of armor. And that is pretty much it. So now that we've done this part of the tanks.gg, we will hop right on over to the model viewer for the OI so we can have a look at how the gun depression works on this interesting looking tank with its two mini turrets on the front and just the general armor layout and where to shoot it. Okay, now we're on the specific page on tanks.gg for the OI, and we're going to have a look at how the gun depression on this tank works. So, for those of you who don't know how this gun constraint tool here works, it's basically as if you were looking at the tank from top down. So this would be the front, this would be the back, the right, and the left. And this kind of helps you visualize where gun depression is good or bad. So right from the front between the two turrets, you get 10 degrees. 10 degrees. So if you're facing right towards someone on a hill, looking right over, you're going to be able to shoot them. Most likely, you're going to be able to get your gun down. But as you bring it over to the side of the tank more, your depression drops to 6. And when you get it basically all the way to the side and a little bit to the rear, which is when you can see that this part of the tank right here, this kind of big box on the back, really gets large, you only have 5 degrees. But if you turn around all the way, you will have 6 degrees. And of course, you're going to have less depression on the back. But you can see that really this little area where the circle is this large is the only place you'll get 10 degrees of gun depression. So if you want to use that in this tank, you must have your turret facing directly forward, just like it is in this picture, to have that work. Anyways, let's check out this 3D model as well. So, as we can see, 150 armor, it's everywhere, and it is very strong. It's on everything. It's on the turrets, the mini turrets, the front plate, not the lower front plate, only 70 millimeters, but it's angled hilariously. And already, you're starting to see, look at these armor values. When you're angling about what would be the perfect angle? Probably not like this. Probably more like, that's about how you want to angle on OI, I'd say, because this is, we'll get to this in a second. Your side's going to be impenetrable. You kind of want to maybe give them just enough to where it's like 210 on this, because no tank that you come up against, unless your bottom tier, is going to be able to pen that. But your side is just really great for the most part, and we'll get to that in a bit. But from front, if anyone's shooting you in the front and you're angled like this, they're either going to have decent pen and shoot you here, or shoot you here. Like, they just have to look for the flattest surface possible, and that's not going to work even for being top tier, because a lot of tanks won't have 156 pen to be able to get through all this stuff. Basically, it's going to be tank destroyers and a few other exceptions only that'll be able to get through this thing. And that's one thing that a lot of people have been noticed that on the subreddit have been complaining about with I believe it's Strongholds or the Clan Wars or something involved with organized Tier 6 matches, where people with slightly less impressive stats will hop into this tank, and what they'll basically do is they'll just camp with it in places where they can hide this little bit of the tank, and they'll never die because no one can pen them even when loading gold. So it's a problem tank for sure, which we can see through all this armor. Like, look at these values. They get kind of crazy if you're shooting at stuff like, never shoot the upper frontal plate of the OI, first off. This thing is so thick. This is angled at about, what does it say here? 40 degrees, 45 degrees, and it's 150 millimeters thick. So never shoot that. There's flatter parts of the tank that you can hit. If it's facing directly onto you and you have about 150 pen, you can pen this part sometimes, like half the time. And then the turret, this is not a weak spot. It is only flatter armor, so that's something else to keep in mind. But now that I've rambled on about how stupid the armor is on this tank, because I can't get over how stupid it is, let's talk about the stupid part about it for the OI, which is how it doesn't have any armor on the side under the tracks. So we can see there is about 100, it's a really weird value. It says it's 150, but it's only on the gun. That's the gun mallet. The gun mallet, obviously don't shoot. It's this gigantic thing. You don't want to shoot that. But we got a little bit of spaced armor here on the side to stop heat or whatever else. And then you can see it's only about 87 millimeters thick here. 85, 85, 127. So really, the side, and up here it's only 70 millimeters thick. So the side is where the OI is most vulnerable. And if you're getting shots through the drive wheel here, you do not need much penetration at all. And even right above the drive wheel, right on this, let's see if I can get the garage view. This will be helpful for a second. Right, like, kind of, you won't be able to see it if you're above it, but you can still shoot it. Like right here, it's a very small spot, but if you're like forced to face hug one of these behemoths, if you're shooting this right here, you're going to pen it consistently. As we can see, it's very, very thin. And there's no collision model, it looks like, where this little plate is, so I believe you'll be able to shoot through it, but do not quote me on that because I'm not positive, but it's not showing up in the 3D model, so I'm assuming that. But yeah, just firing through this drive wheel is the way to go. That is the weakness of the OIs. If he's angled about this much, I'm not sure what kind of an angle this would be, like 20. If he's at a 20-ish degree angle or more, just shoot through the drive wheel. Just keep shooting through that drive wheel. And the more he turns, the easier it's going to get until he's turned all the way, and you can just shoot him here instead. Don't shoot him in the side of the turret or this butt rider turret thing. And especially not in the rear, because you'll have issues pinning there as well. Look at this armor, 200. Look at all that spaced armor. I'm using my finger here pointing at the screen just to count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What is up with that? Like, what is going on with this tank? It's ridiculous. But there's definitely ways to take care of it. And as you can see at the rear as well, there are these issues where there's not much armor behind the tracks. And then another plate over here that you can shoot. But yeah, through the drive wheels into the side of the tank right here, through the drive wheels over here. So it's really about getting the right angle on an OI, which is really not that hard to do, but as you'll see in our gameplay, it doesn't really happen to us a whole lot. Of course, I haven't played this tank too much, as I only had about 20,000 XP on it, but I do have a couple games I want to show you, because I really wanted to get this review out. So let's jump over to those games right now. Alright. So here is the first of the 2 OI games that I have for y'all. This is the worst of the 2 in my opinion, as I did less damage. We are in a platoon with 2 of our friends this time. Big Money Galaxy. Of course, we can't platoon without him. And we also have our other friend who has been busy with college finals for a while now. Dr. Wu 1. We're in the 3 really strong tier 6 tanks. The OI, of course, I've talked about it all video so far, how it's broken. And then we also have a Cromwell, which is an insane tank. Probably the most fun you can have in a tier 6 medium. It is so fast and it has such a good gun. Not really best gun handling, but it's got a punchy... It packs a punch. We'll just say that. And then of course we have our other friend Dr. Wu in his SU-100, who I will give a quick shout out to. He also runs his own small operation here on YouTube on the channel Official Dr. Wu 1, so definitely go check him out as well if you want. Probably more well-made videos than me, honestly. He's been doing this quite a bit longer than I have. We're going to go up here the hill, though, on Fiery Salient, strange name, with some of our friends. Not friends, but teammates. And it's really not going to be that fast-moving of a game, sadly. We do have a pretty good team overall. We have a couple of good Czech medium tank drivers that are going to be doing some work, hopefully, for us as well. The Churchill 7 could be pretty strong in this matchup, but this guy is not going to do much. Anyways, let's get to my point of view. See what I'm looking at and what I'm doing. We are being followed by our slightly faster, but not really noticeably so, counterpart, the OI experimental version, which is really just a lighter armored OI with smaller turrets. Or one smaller turret, anyways. You're really going to see how bad this tank suffers in terms of speed as I try and get up this hill here. We're hitting a solid 5 kilometers, maybe 6 kilometers an hour when we're going straight. When we turn, that drops to anywhere from 4 to 3, or 5 to 3, excuse me. We already have people fighting on this match. We already have 1 ELC down, but honestly, nothing at this point matters to me. They have 2 tanks I have to be afraid of, the KV-2 and the OI. If I'm facing anything else frontally on their team, I really don't have to worry about it unless we're really at close range or they're firing premium. The important thing for this match is that I do not get caught inside, and this is a perfect position for that because you only have one side exposed. Your right side's towards the edge of the map. Simple as that. That's all I gotta say about that, really. Anyways, yeah. They have a KV-2 and a couple Churchills that are probably coming this way, as well as the Skoda, who's already up here, as far as we know. But they also have some Cromwells on this mid-ridge, and we're going to try and do some sniping. So you see here, I'll actually aim my gun. And I absolutely bomb that Cromwell. 750 damage. 1 shot, 1 kill at tier 6. That is absolutely ridiculous. I was freaked out. You saw my camera kind of pause there. I freaked out right after I nailed that shot because of how awesome it was. And here we go. We have the side of a Churchill 1. Boom! 400 damage. He is also out of there. So that's really good result so far. 2 shots, 2 kills for 1,100 damage. I would have probably full rolled and pinned him in the side of the turret there if our teammate hadn't shot him as well. So really good start to this match. quick drink of some cherry coke as we nail this Skoda T40 for our third hit and our third kill. So this is really what this tank's all about, is just derping the crap out of people. So here we're going to see a little bit of me struggling with my gun depression, because I didn't really understand how it worked at the time. I'm trying to get my gun down over there, but it's not working out for me. And now I'm getting shot up by a Cromwell and a T67, so I really need to fall back. But now the T67 gets spotted. Let's see what I can do with this. Not fully aimed all the way. He only has 94 health, and he's gone before I can even get a shot off. So now we're winning the West pretty hard. We won the hill pretty hard, so now we just need to really just push over and try and win the game. So I see 3 tanks right here. Don't really know which one to shoot. I'd like to shoot the KV-2, but he shoots HE to me. It does no damage, so I'll just finish off this Hellcat. 452 damage. This tank, I said in an earlier attempted recording that it feels dirty, but at the same time, it just feels so right, just destroying these tanks with this gun. Look at this Churchill 3. He has no chance of pinning me with that rapid firing gun that he has. It's almost like an autoloader that's always loaded on that thing. We execute him as well for our 6th hit and our 5th kill. And at this point the game has been over for a while. It's 12-2 right now. We're really just looking for the cleanup kills at this point. I want a Top Gun, but I don't know if I'd be able to chase it down in time. So I see a T-34 up there. However, I can't get to him in time as my gun wasn't loaded. And that's pretty much all I do in this game. We'll follow it around till the end, but it's really, really winding down. I'm a little frustrated that I can't get my Top Gun, as you see me swinging my camera around in circles. And yeah. So what we saw in this matchup is how easy it is to play an OI, in a top tier matchup. Let's take a quick screenshot right here. There we go. That'll be nice. We really just see how overpowered those tank can be in top tier. I was just cruising that game. I wasn't really trying too hard, and I got 2,000 damage. So now let's jump on to the next replay. So here we are in our second better match in the OI, in a tier 7 maximum match on a standard battle on Winterberg, which is the first of the 4 seasonal editions of Ruinberg that we will be getting throughout the World of Tanks life cycle. Soon we'll see Summerberg, and then Fallberg, and then Springberg eventually. That was a bad joke, I know. But anyways, this is good matchmaking for my tank. We have only 2 tanks that can be a really big threat to us, in the KV-3 and the SU-152. The KV-3, of course, has a gun that can pen armor of a tank like this fairly easily with 175 pen. The SU-152, if he's firing heat, will pen me, or HE will damage me quite significantly. Excuse me, man, I'm really hiccuping a lot today. Significantly. Anyways, we are, of course, going to head into the town on this tank, because even if we don't have the best armor in the game in comparison to the KV-3s, we still do, I believe, have a slightly better turret than him, and we will outplay him for sure. Looking at his stats, I think we can do it. The dispersion of the team is decent here, however, we do have far too many mediums in the town. Like, what is a Cromwell and a Skoda T-24 and a KV-13 really going to do in the town? KV-13 is the only one I can understand due to his ISL. So here's our first shot of the game. Don't even aim it. Flies true right into the KV-2's repair tracks, which makes him use his repair kit pretty instantly, honestly. So we only have 4 tanks over there, and that's going to prove pretty troublesome later, and our Skoda T-40 is just kind of chilling for now out there just to wait and see what happens. So what we're going to try and do now that we've reloaded is look for some side shots possibly on maybe this Sherman Jumbo. KV-1S moves into position first and gets a shot off but doesn't hit anything. So now it's my turn. I'm going to wait for this guy around the corner so I can aim before he's even there. And I nail him for 343 damage to the lower plate. Probably damaging a crew member or 2. And you notice there, I also bounced the KV-3, which was probably, yeah, he shot me right in the upper plate. And I think he did it again. Nope, he shot me right here in the turret cheek. So, twice now he's fired in bad spots. Jumbo tries to shoot me. fails to really do anything. But then the KB3 shoots me in that spot I was talking about. That little front drive wheel behind it, not having much armor area. And he just nails me. But thankfully I have this KB1S here to save my ass. He does just that. So now I'm trying to side scrape, but really that's not advisable ever in this tank because of how huge the hole is compared to the turret. Like side scraping, you just give them free shots on those really flat parts you can kind of see I'm looking at of the upper frontal hole. And really, when you look at this tank from the side, what you notice is that it has a weird shape to it. Like look, it's just like kind of flat and small in the front, and then just gets huge, really tall, really fast, and then gets a little bit smaller again in the back. Anyways, next shot. Looking for the Chaffee, not gonna aim. Nailed it, absolutely nailed it. Didn't aim at all, didn't matter, it flew true. Toriyama, someone like that is guiding my shells. Whoever the Japan's main head of government was at the time this tank was being produced, he is guiding these shells, and he does a great job of it. Better than Stalin with the KV-2, maybe even. Anyways, we are rapidly winning the town. However, it's pretty even in the field in the east, as we can see. There's kind of just 2 tanks from per team brawling it out. Now there's 2 very big guns here aiming at us, the ST-100Y and the ST-152. So everyone is afraid to go around this corner. But me, of course, the lowest health tank of all of us, is going to say screw it and snapshot that SU-100Y like it was nothing. Like it was nothing. So now we've gotten them. The SU-152 is basically a one-shot for anyone, and I really don't want to pull in front of his gun yet until I'm loaded. So I'm going to start going now, because I'll be low by the time I get there. He fires, nails our ram, but the Cromwell finishes him off. So now this game's really winding down. We did lose that field just barely, so that's a shame. Everyone died there to that Type T-34, it seems like. But now we are encroaching on their base, so this game is pretty much over. Haven't spotted that Hellcat in a while. Bet he's still back in the base. Type T-34 he could make a run back to defend, and the M4 will probably die before he can do anything else. This really makes me notice how erratically I move the camera around. I do play on a pretty high mouse sensitivity in comparison to my group of friends at least. I play on 2400 DPI, which I know isn't nearly as high as mouses can be in terms of sensitivity, but it seems to be by far the highest of what any of my friends use compared to me. That shot there, easy kill on the artillery. Sucks that he killed the Skoda T-4025, but he really should have been helping out the field rather than in this town, being in this town. I'm not really worried about this Hellcat. He's not the best player in the world. He probably either won't know where to shoot me or won't fire premium to defend me. I'll look for a shot on the Type T-34, and that would have been nice to hit because I would have saved the Cromwell from his death. But it's okay. We can live without him. Hellcat finally shows himself over here, and I'm going to have just enough time to load after he bounces the shot off of me. Let's see where these shots are bouncing, by the way. I think that one also, yep, also hit us in the upper hole. Upper frontal plate. And there we go. He pulls out in front of my gun. I don't know what he was thinking there, but I just finished him off. He has no armor. It's going to be a kill every time with this gun. Now there's only Type T-34 left on 45 health. I'm not worried about him killing me with anything. His gun is pretty lacking in terms of pen, and I believe gun handling isn't too great on it as well. But here we go. He's running, and I miss. And I do believe someone else ninjas the kill here in the very end. Yep, KV-13 gets him. And that's the second game in the OI. Now let's have a look at both of the games' post-game statistics. Okay, here's the first of those 2 OI games. It was a pretty quick sweep of a game, as you saw on Fiery Salient, and I only got a second-class mastery badge. However, I was top on experience with 1,000 base experience and 2,000 damage, so a really good result for only having to fire 5 shells, getting those 5 kills very easily, and making a pretty good hunk of credits to boot. Nothing else to really say about this free play. And here we have the second of the 2 matches that we saw in my OI, and we can see that this was definitely a better game in terms of both experience and damage. We did about 500 more damage, which is another good shot in, and got 228 more experience for it, as well as getting, while we did one less kill, getting more shots in, and blocking 1400 damage with our armor, barely surviving the match. We got a tiny bit of spotting damage from one of those tracking shots we probably hit, as well as netting ourselves a high caliber and a Spartan in that match. Looking at the detail report, once again, we did make another 30k credits, that's pretty nice, as well as getting a good hunk of experience for ×2. And that was a better example of the OI because it shows some of the weaknesses in terms of its armor and really shows how dominant the gun can be and how kind of crazy it is, in my opinion. So, doing some quick closing notes now. What else is there to really say about this tank? It's got crazy armor, but it's really flat in a lot of places. It's very slow, but it's not the slowest. It has, and I guess the other thing about it is it totally outclasses a very unique tier 6 tank, the KV-2. So, closing thoughts on the tank itself for the review, whether or not I think you all should grind this line. The line is frustrating to play. It's not good. There's not a very high skill ceiling for these types of tanks. They're very slow. They're not flexy at all. Like they can't go anywhere. They just move very slowly, and I believe they only get slower from this tank on. So I'm not looking forward to that too much. The guns, this is the highlight of the line as far as I know. The guns don't really get good again until maybe tier 10, and the tier 8 10cm is pretty good, I've heard, for top tier battles. But yeah, this tank specifically, I don't know what Wargaming were thinking. Putting this much armor on a KV-2 style gun, on the tank that carries a KV-2 style gun, is ridiculous. It's the new KV-1S, a tier 6 in terms of power. It's not going to be as strong as the KV-1S because that thing was in a league of its own, but in terms of replacing a hard-hitting heavy that's been removed from the game, that's what this does perfectly. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just why Wargaming. Definitely pick yourselves up one of these things, even if you free XP straight to it. I'd recommend playing a tier 5 first, though. It's a lot of fun. The ramming kills you can get in that thing are hilarious downhills. But this tank, definitely get your hands on it because you may very well need one if you're in a clan and you're playing strongholds or tier 6 strongholds is, I believe, what it's called. Someone please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But yeah, definitely get yourself one of these tanks. It's a hoot. It's a real hoot. So if y'all like this video, do leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and please tell me in the comment sections what I can do better because I'm always looking to improve on my videos. And if you didn't like it, you also know what to do. Leave a dislike. That's okay. It's a free country, as they say. So yeah, I hope you all have an excellent Christmas or whatever else you celebrate during this time. Bye.